Did you think the Renaissance was a lovely time in history? You're very, very wrong. I think I found more atrocities from the 14th to 17th century than any kind of net positives. I'm Adam Andrews, and today on Bumblebee we're going to break down 10 unspeakable events from the Renaissance period. Number 10. The Spanish Inquisition. Yes. The Spanish Inquisition, the process of combating heresy, or as I like to call it, people not agreeing with you. See, when someone doesn't agree with me, I'll try my best to convince them otherwise. Or I'll just, carry on living my life because what they believe is not my business. But not in Spain from 1478 to 1834, no sir. Here we have a guy called the Grand Inquisitor who was the head of the Inquisition in Spain. He was empowered by the Vatican to deal with heretics, however he deemed worthy, which seemed to be fire because there were over 2,000 burning at the stakes. More than 160,000 Jews were expelled from Spain, and those who remained, along with a heck of a lot of Muslims, were forced to convert. I could go on about how bad it was, but I got 9 other points to write here. Number 9. Ottomans stole my baby. How do you create a loyal army when a bunch of your subjects don't really trust or like you very much? You go the old First Order in the new Star Wars trilogy route, and you steal children and brainwash them. Duh. If you were a Christian family living in the Ottoman-controlled Balkans, Anatolia, or the Caucasus, you had to pay the blood tax. That means every 4 or 5 years, your Ottoman overlords would come along and take a male child under the age of 2 to be converted to Islam, and then educated as soldiers to serve in the Janissary. But hey, to make up for your forced brainwashing and enrollment in the military, you were paid, and you did get preferential treatment because, you don't even remember being not an Ottoman. Kinda messed up that you were used to fight against the same Christians who brought you into this world though. Number 8. Ottomans need to chill. The Ottomans were kind of the worst. Now, yes, that point of view was bolstered by the Christian parts of the world, so we can imagine they were a little biased. But when you're known for slaughtering humans to get things done, then yeah, you aren't going to be the first person invited to family dinner, you know? 2 great examples of Ottomans just going that extra mile would be in 1480 when they de-lifed the city of Otranto in Italy for not converting to Islam, and in 1571 when they took the city of Famagusta and made sure every Christian who lived there didn't see the following day. The Ottoman commander did some lovely things to the Venetian commander. He said, "Got your nose," and ears, gave him an unwanted ride around the city and presented him as a trophy to his sultan. This definitely provoked some Christian clapbacks though. Just take a look at the guy called Vlad the Impaler. Number 7. Christians need to chill too. Oh, did you think the Ottomans were the only ones out here committing atrocities? Surprise! Welcome to the real world, kiddo. European Christian rulers were not any better. You see, back in the day, many rulers decided to employ mercenaries such as the condottieri in Italy and the Landsknecht in Germany to fight their private wars for them. These mercenaries were here for one reason: money, and as such did not go the normal warfare routes. Instead of attacking fortified positions, the condottieri would go around the countryside burning and looting. They would even bite the hand that feeds, like in 1527 when 14,000 Landsknecht sacked Rome after they were not paid. The Christian mercenaries were interested in one thing: cold hard cash, and no one was safe if they didn't get it. The Landsknecht were even said to not be allowed into hell for what they did in Rome. Number 6. The church is corrupt? No way! The church has always been political, but in the Renaissance it became publicly political and corrupt. There were 2 main families whose members became the Pope: the Medici and the Borgia, and neither one of them was too great or even followed the rules of the church. Pope Alexander Borgia VI, for example, had 4 children with a mistress that he continued to see while he was the Pope. One of his sons became the Archbishop of Valencia at age 17. Which you won't be surprised to know is not the norm. On the Medici side of things, we have Pope Leo X, who was accused of taking part in sins like masquerade balls, selling salvation, nepotism, and excessive spending. The corruption got cleaned, but it took quite the event for that to happen. Number 5. The Reformation. As if Europe wasn't already going through it, how about a little bit of religious civil war? In 1521, Augustinian monk Martin Luther wrote his 95 Theses, basically accusing the Catholic Church of corruption. Most heresies at the time were quietly smothered, but this one was a bit more of a problem thanks to Frederick III of Saxony protecting Luther and bringing about the Reformation. Some may say that this isn't exactly a bad thing, and I feel like people believing whatever they want should be perfectly fine. But at the time, Lutheranism got political and was an awesome excuse to confiscate the Catholic Church's land holdings in Central Europe and Scandinavia, making their rulers rich and giving them enough money to oppose Habsburg dominance. So yeah, sounds totally awesome. Number 4, witch trials. Do you know what else the Reformation did for the world? It successfully brought witch hunting to Central Europe for 200 years! Yay! What's a good way to get rid of anyone who does some stuff you can't explain, don't like, or consider unholy? Accuse them of witchcraft. Oh, they won't admit to being a witch? Let's deprive them of sleep and do heinous things to them until they admit it, because that must make it true. This all really kicked off in 1486, when Heinrich Kramer wrote The Hammer of Witches, which basically said, witchcraft's getting bad, we should step up the punishments. Which is pretty bad when you know that, not too much later, Enlightenment rationalism became a thing, which basically denied the existence of magic and therefore witches and witchcraft. Number 3, burning Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc, the patron saint of France. She claimed she was the prophesied savior of France. She led an army to save the besieged city of Orleans, and she helped to see the prince at the time crowned as King Charles VII. What did she get in return for all this? She was captured by the Anglo-Burgundians and put on trial for 70 different charges, including witchcraft, heresy, and dressing like a man. And after a year of captivity, she was forced to sign a confession that she had never received divine guidance like she had claimed. If all that wasn't bad enough, on the 30th of May in 1431, at the age of 19, she was burned at the stake in the marketplace of Rouen. Luckily, 20 years after her death, Charles VII would get her name cleared, and in 1902, Pope Benedict XV canonized her. Number 2, pirates. While Europe wasn't exactly a very stable place, it was an incredibly wealthy place. And where there is wealth, there are people who make it their goal to forcefully take that wealth. That's right, pirates. North African pirates frequently targeted Catholic Italy, Spain, and Malta in search of captives to sell in Ottoman markets. Harridan Barbarossa and his brother Ursa Ali achieved notoriety in the Mediterranean for sacking the Balearic Islands, robbing Spanish treasure ships, and successfully attacking southern Italy. Christian states such as the Knights of Malta also captured people by raiding Muslim shipping routes and ports. None of this was particularly great for anyone. Captured men were held for ransom or used and sold as labor, but as always seems to be the case, and as I'm sure you can imagine, captured women got the worst of it. Number 1, the Bubonic Plague. To top our lovely list of happenings, we have a lovely little thing called the Bubonic Plague. The Black Death ran rampant all over Europe, being carried on fleas that traveled on rodents from roughly 1350 to 1450. This wasn't anything like the pandemic we're dealing with today. This sickness was almost always fatal, and it took out like half of the population of Europe. Since the disease was worse in big cities, which makes sense, the best solution was to move out into the country. That's great, but the only people that could do that were the ones who were wealthy enough to afford it. As you can imagine, the massive loss of life did not bode too well for the economy either. A huge chunk of consumer population just didn't exist anymore. After the plague had pretty much gone away, there was a steep rise in population. Think like baby boomers. And that helped bring things back to normal. Alright, you lovely little honeybees, that's my not so lovely list. What did you think? Got anything to add? Let us know down below. I've been Adam Andrews. You can find me on Instagram at the _schmadam. This is Bumblebee. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check us out on Facebook for more content. And until next time, peace out, bees. Relaxation across the nation, baby. One of his sons became the Archbishop. God, it's getting rough. I looked up how to pronounce this. Landsknecht. The Landsknecht. Why did I write this so many times? Landsknecht. Wow, I just said that. Funny how that works out. Thank God we got through that. Jesus Christ.